Hello, welcome to Paxton Road TV. I am Sam Spurs for Life, and this is episode number 62 of Talking Points, entitled The Curious Case of Stephen Bergwijn. I'll just put it on the screen so we can all see. The Curious Case of Stephen Bergwijn. Yeah, a bit of play on words, not Benjamin Button. He's not getting younger as we speak. He is actually getting older. He's 25. We're going to get into some detail. But before we start the show, please make sure you hit that like button, notification bell. Sean always reminds you to hit that notification bell, which I don't remember to say all the time. So hit that notification bell as well. Share the stream around with all your friends and make sure you put comments in the comment section below. And I am joined in the house by Paxton Road Supremos, Sid Spurs and Sean Hurl. Welcome, gentlemen. Wednesday evening. How are we?
I'm still basking in watching that Sonny goal for about 1,765 times, So yeah,
you should have seen it live at the other end of the stadium.
Absolutely,
that's
right.
That's what it was. It was one of them ones.
Yeah, well, and that obviously was when he scored the goal, right?
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, you nearly got me there. Wait, what's he doing?
At least yesterday I got my ticket for the Arsenal game. So,
oh, wicked! I'll see you there, mate.
Definitely. Before, I haven't got. Oh no, I'm not talking about definitely. I'm not going to the Arsenal game. Anyway, but before we start going into chaos on the show, we actually got a reason for coming on. I know it's semi-finals of the Champions League, so we're not going to be here for that long. We always say that anyway. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about our friend Stephen Bergwijn. Let me put this back up here. Stephen Bergwijn. Well, what can we say? I'm going to start off. I like the guy. I like him. I like seeing the potential when he came and joined us. I think he was 23 when he joined. He's 25 now. Bags of potential. We always seem to be. We went through that phase when we in that transfer window. We were buying some youngsters, some potential, as we keep saying, and. I think it was the Tang guys of this world, they didn't quite materialize. Safe to say, Stephen Bergwijn, another one, mercurial. Is he going to materialize at Spurs? Is he going to be given a chance? It looks and appears that might not be the case now. Sean, just talk to me about Mr. Bergwijn, your thoughts on him before we look at a few stats and, where he's come from, what he's done, and the potential that we might be missing out on.
This is a guy born in Amsterdam, schooled at Ajax, and when they're schooled at Ajax, they're schooled at Ajax. He fell out with a coach in the academy at Ajax, was snapped up immediately by PSV. They're one of their bitter rivals. There's been, there's now a Dutch international, 18 caps, I believe, and 5 goals. So he's and. As I've said previously, as I said after the game on the weekend, owner of one of the 2 occasions where I really jumped out of my seat, that little bit of shimmy skill against Wolverhampton. Conte, if you take him at his face value, says he gives me something I haven't got, and I agree. I think 1v1, he's a great player. The reason I feel that he doesn't score many goals is because he's in and out of the team. He doesn't feel supported. And I feel it's going to be a shame if he leaves, as appears increasingly likely to be the case this summer. We will miss out on what I think will potentially be a good talent, but for his own career. I mean, he arrived a little bit under a cloud, didn't he? From when Mourinho was in charge, he arrived, and Mourinho didn't seem to, if you remember the Amazon documentary, there was a kind of offhandishness by Mourinho, like he'd been bought without his say. But he managed to get into the team where we went to the top of the league. Then he had that notorious night in Anfield where he hit the post, and he was destroyed on social media. Absolutely destroyed by our fan base on social media. And I think, when I see that happening, I tend to sort of jump to their defense. I think the player, he's honest. He's got a ceiling that we haven't seen. And I really fear that it will be seen in another club. that he'll go on and he'll be a real baller.
Yeah, I agree with most of their comments. In fact, I agree with all of them because I believe that he has got a real potential, more so than, you know, I looked at Dele Alli. We've talked about Dele Alli for a number of years, and he 17, 18 was looking like he was going to be a worldie. You know, England regular looked like he was going to be, but I guess he kind of lost his way a little bit. Similar type ages as well. I'm not sure if it's the pressure at Spurs, what it is, but something seems to happen to some of our younger players. It doesn't, apart from Harry Kane, I guess you can say Harry Winks as well. I guess Skip now more so. I'm just thinking of all the younger players that we've had within our ranks that have either come to us or we've developed through the academy, and we don't seem to have many shining lights that have come through. I'm not sure what that is because, you know, as you said, Ajax schooling, PSV, we've seen what they produce, and then we've had people like Davinson Sanchez coming from Ajax, not done so well. I'm not sure if it's Spurs or if it's the players or if it's too much. I don't know. Sid, let me ask you, what's your thoughts on Steven Bergwijn before we look at some of the stats? Sean's already mentioned most of them, but I've got them still anyway.
Yeah, do you know what? Before I give my opinion, I just want to wish everyone who had celebrated Eid over the weekend, and just hope everyone
Absolutely.
had a great day. I went up north to see my family, and like you said, it's like Christmas. It's a family occasion. I tell you what, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I hope everyone else had a good one as well, all over the world, all over the country. But you know what? It's an interesting one, Bergwijn. Is he one of these? See, the problem with that one is it that thing where he hasn't adapted to the Prem, or is it he hasn't been given enough time to show his skills and showcase his talent? It's unfortunate, obviously, because we've had Mourinho, we've had Nuno, we've had Conte, and he's very limited to what game time he's got. And like Sean said, there's PSV, Ajax want him back, don't they? There's links that Ten Hag said that if he goes to Man United, he might put a bid in for him to take him to Man United. So they see the potential. They've seen it. I mean, maybe because he's been at Ajax at a young age and they probably know how good he is. But is he one of these players that you're going to have to change the whole system to try and embed him into a team?
I don't think so, you know. Not currently. I think with the problem I think Steven Bergwijn's got is now Son and Kulusevski and Kane appear to be the front three of choice. That looks like a given. I think he can play any one of those three positions. So he's an ideal backup for Kane, for Son, or Kulusevski, because he can play on the left or the right or down the centre. We've seen what he's done for the Netherlands. So I'm not quite sure why we don't at least give him an opportunity. I was so disappointed going to the game on Saturday that I saw Lucas Moura start as opposed to Steven Bergwijn, because we've all seen what Lucas Moura does. We know what we're going to get. Yeah, you might get the odd flurry or two, but you're not going to get that level of, I think, that real ability, that defensive stability, I guess the strength. Sean knows he can't trap a bag of cement. We've seen that. I watched live and I thought to myself, yeah, he's on his way out in terms of age, profile, etc., etc. Big opportunity, not given. So I think that's probably the main crux of this matter. He's had a couple of injuries that have kept him out. He's not been given the opportunity. He scored on his debut. Don't forget, he scored on his debut against Manchester City. And he did that celebration. I was like, oh, we've got one here. You could feel like the way he kind of took that goal. And then he was like, yeah. But from that point onwards, I'm just not sure what's happened.
So can I? Oh, someone's calls on. Can I quote this Conte on Bergwijn? So basically, I think a couple of days ago.
Hello, Sid. What's going off? What's going off?
That's not me.
You?
No.
Oh,
it's probably my phone.
I thought it was someone trying to get into your car or something.
That's what I thought. But, so basically, Conte has said it's difficult to keep him on the bench because maybe Steven is the player who deserves more, but we must keep the balance. He's a striker, but there's Harry, Sonny, and Deji gives us quality and quantity. But maybe with Steven, I'm giving him less than he deserves. So he sees him as a striker, right? Now, if he sees him as a striker, then obviously Harry Kane is the main striker, so forget that. However, in games where we're struggling, right? Then what? How about you drop Harry Kane back a little bit and bring him on as the striker? Because then both of them can play the striker role, but then you got Kane doing the number 10 role rather than having Lucas as the option. So in his head, he's already seen it, hasn't he? That them front three are going to be untouchables in a sense of way. So the problem he's now got is, what does he do with him? Because Bergwijn's, I think he's quoted as saying that I might have to look at elsewhere at the end of the season. And I was going to pose this question after at the end. So would you then sell him, or would you keep an unhappy Bergwijn?
Let's answer that at the end. Let's answer that in a little bit, because that's a good one. When we better look a few things, we might be able to come to some decisions. You know what? The point about you made about bringing Stephen on with Harry Kane, that's a great point. But this goes back to the formation change. If we're struggling again with the 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 that we're playing, I think you're right. We could possibly go to, and this is where I want Conte to show me something else. We've talked about plan B. He could almost go to a 4-4-1-1 if he wanted to, drop Harry Kane into that one, and could Steven Bergwijn be the top striker? And then you still got your two wide players in Son and Kulusevski who can play infield. Because, if you play a 4-4-2 these days, you don't necessarily have to play it flat 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1. Right. You can have players coming, as we've seen with a lot of teams who've done that to us in this season. So I don't understand if you're chasing a game and you want to get someone on like Steven, but you're thinking, I don't want to, if I put him in, I don't want to take Kane off because blah, blah, blah. Well, don't take Kane off. Keep him on. Yeah. Take one of the defenders off. Quite simple for me. Take a Ben Davies off. Take one of your wing-backs off, like Emerson, who's not really that great at the moment. Put somebody else in that position. Or even drop one of the forwards like Kulusevski's week. Or the other thing that might have occurred, and this is why when he made quotes like that and he still didn't start him at the weekend, I think something's gone off. And there's this rumour about potentially he was asked to play wing-back. Again, this is all rumours and hearsay. And he's refused. Because something is definitely not right. Because if he makes them comments, and he said it before about his potential, how great he thinks he could be, he looks at him as a striker, but starts Lucas Moura first. Doesn't make sense. Sean, do you think it's a case that he has fallen out with Conte? Because I've seen a couple of times his body language doesn't look happy. Obviously, if you're being brought on at 88 minutes, you're not going to be that happy. But he scored 2 goals for us in a game against Leicester City when he had only 3 or 4 minutes to play. What's your thoughts?
But that's a well. You can't go to that well every week. I mean, it's that was an exceptional night, and that was a game that we should have won at a canter, to be fair. But I just think the more and more you look at the body language, the fact that he's actually got on record this weekend and saying that he might have to look elsewhere, it does suggest that something's gone on behind the scenes. And given that he's not even the first choice substitute, it just beggars belief. The man has such a high ceiling. Given Moura got injured on Saturday, which gave him the opportunity. Obviously, he brought on Kulusevski, and I think that was a little lesson to Kulu. You've got to keep your standards up because the previous 2 games have been bad. And he took his chance, and obviously in his cameo he created 2 chances. But my concern here is that we've got a really talented player who's got a good tradition, who's managed to somehow get into the Dutch national team, even though he's not playing week in and week out, and is well thought of. That we're going to lose him, and we'll lose a potential, a potential talent and a great squad player. And if we were to be in the Champions League, and with the extension of the subs bench coming next season, he will be a loss. He will be a loss in my view. I think he's. The other
thing to point then, maybe Sean, that he said he wants to leave. If that is the case and a player wants to go, there's not really. I know we've seen it in the past. We've seen it with Harry Kane keeping players against their will. But in this situation, he's not a first teamer. So keeping a player that's been a bit part and saying, "Oh, we want to keep you," like what Arsenal did with Maitland-Niles. They did that with a few players. They kept him, saying, "You don't want him to go, but don't play him." and then eventually the players leave for free anyway. So it's now right. We've got no backup striker, and I'm always hearing this. Oh well, no one's going to come to Spurs because of Harry Kane, but we've already got somebody here. And we haven't kept him happy. We've not even tried to at least, okay, you know what? Can't bring you on, can't drop Kane for you, but I'll give you 20 minutes. I'll give you 25 minutes. You know what? Kulusevski, he's the most droppable of the three. I'll play you as opposed to Lucas Moura, who we've all seen. That's what I can't get my head around. And I don't understand why, unless, as we said, and Bob Spur made the comment earlier, something's gone on behind doors that we don't know about, where there's either said, right, I don't want to, you know, I'm looking to move on, boss, or boss has said, you know what, I can't promise you first team football or regular first team football. And they've just said, well, okay, that's it. It can only be it. That can only be it. I don't see anything else.
I mean, given the timing of the World Cup as well, I mean, a Winter World Cup, he needs to be playing week in and week out. And,
he said that, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's not gonna get it at Tottenham. And you know, I think, you know, the exit door is opening, and unfortunately, we'll never, you know, it'll be a player that we're going to miss out on, I'm afraid. I think he'll go on to decent things, you know. I
think he will go on to big things. Sid, we've got two players, I think, who we are in the front line, because I think we've got a couple other players who may be undroppable, Rera being one of them. But certainly in the front line, all things being equal, Harry Kane and Son aren't likely to be dropped, regardless of form, unless they have a real stinker. We've seen that. So it looks and appears that there's probably only one droppable player, if that's the case. And I think even Kulusevski now has shown that when he's dropped, he's got the right attitude to come back and play. This comment here from Mojo, who would you drop? Is it just Kulusevski?
You know, everyone, well, you've just said it, yeah. You can't drop Son, you can't drop Kane. You can drop them if they're not.
Yeah,
they're not playing right. If they're not playing well, okay. I know everyone says, "Oh, Kane's undroppable. He's our top scorer." Blah blah blah. Fine. Son as well. They are droppable. You can drop them.
I don't think it's even about a case of being droppable. Harry Kane has taken some awful punishment in the last few weeks. Yeah. Every time he's been on the end of some really heavy tackling. Bring him off with 15 minutes to go to save him for, you know, the bigger games. You know, if the game is won, for example, just bring him on so he can, you know, he can save him to get him to the end of the season, because, you know, I don't know. He's gone down a few times, and I've absolutely winced at that challenge by Ashley Young in the Villa game was criminal. And you know, you wonder when for the Brentford game and for the Brighton game when he wasn't quite at it, is he playing through an injury again? And you know how ineffective that can make Harry Kane when he's carrying something. But you know, if Bergwijn's not going to play, at least use him to protect your players and bring him on with more than 3 minutes to go. You know,
I mean, Sonny is one of them players anywhere. It's just, you don't know what he's going to do. He's unpredictable, and he just can pull a blinder. And I think, Sam, you saw it at the weekends. There's periods in that games where he's just non-existent. There's not much going on, and then he just pops up. So you could potentially, you know, take Sonny off and bring Bergwijn on. You could potentially take Kulu off as well and bring Bergwijn on. And it's like what we said before. Even you can keep them on and just take somebody in the middle or at the back off, and all four of them players can swap. Kulu can play up top, Son can play up top, Bergwijn can play up top, Kane can play up top. Yeah, and if it's not working for Kane, then he can drop into that number 10, and you still got them three. You can swap them in positions, and it's still possible. You know, so everyone's droppable. It's just whether Conte's got the balls to do it. I know the fans are going to get on his back, but if he's not playing well, if Kane's not playing well, if Son's not playing well, then at some point you have to take him off, because, you know, if it's a crucial game and you've got Bergwijn on the pitch or on the bench, a potential match winner, Kane's having a stinker, Son's having a stinker, Kulu's having a stinker, or Kulu's playing well, then you have to sacrifice it. Every manager does it. Klopp does it. Guardiola does it. So why can't Conte do it?
Klopp brings Mane off, for God's sake.
Yeah,
exactly.
And this is what I was going to say. There was a game, I think, which game was Liverpool chasing in the league? There was, I can't remember which one it was. But they play a traditional 4-3-3. You know, Salah, well, you can name their front three. You can Salah, Mane, and Diaz, or Salah, Mane, Jota, whatever they want to be, Firmino, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, at some point, they needed to win that game. They had to score. They went to a 2-4-4. They brought Origi on, they kept Salah on, they kept Mane on, I think they kept on Diaz, and it was just a front four. And they just said, right, okay, we're going to go for it. We put two wide players as well. They had their wing backs. Well, they basically played as wing backs, you know, Robertson and Trent, because they were so far up the pitch. But that's the sort of thing that I want to see our manager do in terms of attacking and using the talent that we've got, because we've seen that this guy has been able to, and you mentioned it before, Sean, you can't dig to the well all the time, but he's scored some crucial goals when he's been brought on. I think there was a game against West Ham he scored. Also, obviously, the Leicester game we all know about. So he's been given limited minutes, but still was able to produce. He got that opportunity in that game when it went, was it against Brighton? I think it was. He got brought on and he missed it late on, or it was Brentford, one of the two. But he's still getting his opportunities. If you look at Son, he's got 19 goals. I agree. Son, if he's not playing well, you could bring him off. But I would always say that a player like that, because of the goals that we've seen him score, right foot, left foot, you really don't want to be taking that. Even if he doesn't play well, he might pop up with a goal. Same with Harry Kane. However, if you're chasing the game, you can keep them players on and bring an additional player in Steven Bergwijn on. And I don't see why that can't be done, and sacrifice someone else defensively, because three at the back is a safe system when you've got two wing backs that come back, and then you've got your 5-4-1 that we set up as. Sometimes I just think you have to go with it. And a player like this is an ideal person to do that. Steven Bergwijn. Let's share some of this then. Let's have a look. I ain't got that many in bits and pieces because Sean's already bloody done it all already. But I'm going to do this little bit anyway.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He did some research.
I did some research. I went onto the Spurs website. And
don't
then
expect your guest to do any research. Yeah. I don't normally, but yeah.
But my guest has definitely done some. So I'll just go through this. You probably heard this already, folks. Steven Bergwijn, first team debut for PSV at the age of 17, a regular during the 2016-17 season where he made 33 appearances, 3 Eredivisie titles, making 149 appearances, scoring 31 goals. Career best 15 in 2018-19, made his senior international debut in October 2018. 18 caps so far for the Netherlands with 5 goals. You see that stat there, Sean? I was waiting for that one, and he got it right. So joined from PSV January 2020.
I do think he's 24, by the way, but never mind.
He's 24, isn't he? Any 24?
Yeah, but you've been saying 25 earlier.
Yes,
pay attention.
Sometimes these guests, we have to just maybe cut them off. Honestly, indeed. Scored on his debut for Spurs versus Manchester City, February 2020. He scored 3 times in his 16 appearances in all competitions in his first season. 80 appearances for Tottenham, 8 goals. This, so far, his Spurs career in terms of the Premier League alone, 57 appearances, 7 goals. He's been on the winning team 31 times, on 17 on the losing team. Goals per match, 0.12. Shooting accuracy, 50%, roughly 47. So, again, pretty decent. But I don't know. What's your thoughts when you see that, Sid? Do you think, we haven't seen enough of him? 2 seasons has been with us now, 57 appearances, not...
Definitely not seen... We've definitely not seen enough of him. But it's like I said before, we've got... The problem we've got is because we've got Son and Kane, right? So that's 2 players that sort of you can't... But I still think we see a lot of Mora. I'd rather have seen more of Bergwijn than Mora, to be fair, because like Shawnee said the other day, mate, he's got to go now, and he at some point. But
he's got to go.
He's got to go.
He's done out here.
That's it. I personally don't think he's had enough game time, and this odd 5 minutes here and there. You know what? Even Ronaldo can't come on for 5 minutes. Messi can't come on for 5 minutes and change the game. And we've said it before. I honestly feel if he goes elsewhere, then he's going to be a star. I know, and I just pray that we don't sell him to Man United or any club in England. If you're going to sell him, you're going to have to sell him abroad. And then it's going to be one of them where we're going to look back and think, you know what? Why did we sell him? He's going to be another one of them.
There's a big caveat there, though.
This is it.
Sam.
But the thing is,
who has got the money? Right? Who's got the money now?
Yeah, of course, that's it. And we're now struggling.
Only the Premier League teams have got the money.
Absolutely. We're struggling in certain games. Brentford, Brighton, and he didn't even get a sniff, you know? And somebody like that, and what you've said, 18 appearances, 5 games for Netherlands, but he's had blinders for Netherlands in the last couple of games that I've watched him.
He's dangerous. He's a dangerous player.
This is it.
Dangerous.
And, like Brighton, we didn't even have a shot on goal. Yeah. Brentford. And I'm sure if he was on that pitch, we would have had something because he does things. He makes things happen, you know, and he should have had more time. And I think what Bob Spurs said and what you guys have said, I think there's something happening behind the scenes where he's just not happy and Conte's just sat there and being petulant and saying, you know what, mate, I'm going to give you the minimum game time, you know, and that's what he's doing. And it's going to be a wasted talent, unfortunately. And we've got 3-4 cup finals coming. He's got to get some game time because they're very, very massive games for us to win. You know?
We know that there's this talk about him potentially going at the end of the season. I think you've mentioned it somewhere. Is it Inter Milan that's been talked about him going to?
I think both Milan teams have.
Both Milan teams.
Yeah,
obviously, Ajax want him back. You mentioned about the Ten Hag thing coming to Manchester United. We can't sell him to Man United. We can't sell him unless we do a deal with Man United where we can get something out of it. I wouldn't do any deals with Man U to just sell him straight with nothing back. I don't even know who I'd want from Man U, but there's probably players there, if I thought about it, who we could probably do some sort of deal. But in the past, we've seen the Spurs. We have had when we used to sell all our players to Man United. That's kind of changing in recent times. They're probably going to tout for Harry Kane as well, but they're not going to get him.
Yeah, they've offered 30 million plus Harry Maguire.
They need to offer us 85,000 billion pounds plus Harry Maguire. That's the only way that taking Harry Maguire.
Yeah,
that's like
Harry Maguire as an apprentice for the groundsman. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, no, I wouldn't even. They'd have to offer a lot of money if they're going to offer him in a part exchange. I'd rather have £1. I'd rather sell him to £1 than get Harry Maguire in any sort of part exchange. But that's just me. Let's decide. Do you think we'll see him start before the end of the season? We've got 4 games left? Have we got 4 games left?
4.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
It's 4. 2 home, 2 away.
The simple answer to that is barring an injury, no.
I agree.
Barring an injury, we're not going to see Steven Bergwijn start a game.
No. And do you know what? Even barring injuries, even if we have injuries, I don't see him starting games. Simple. I think.
Do you think we're going to see him contribute though? I mean, when I say contribute, I don't mean like 5 minutes here and there. I say that because I look at what Liverpool, what Arsenal are doing. People like Eddie Nketiah, Lacazette, all of them coming to the end of it, literally leaving in June. They're going. Their contract's done. He's not. He's still got a contract until, is it 2025? Stephen Beale 24.
He signed a 5-year deal when he joined us. So he joined us in 2020. So
yeah, 2025, which was like 4. Yeah. So we don't have to sell him, but we'd have obviously a unhappy player on our hands if he wants to leave. That in football is nothing because there's been plenty of that in the history of the game. But if he does actually want to go, I think we have to maximize because of the potential, but not sell him anywhere close to anybody in the Premier League, in my opinion. Do you think he'll have some cameo appearances before the end of the year?
Do you know what? Hand on heart, no. And the reason why is we've struggled the last couple of games and Moura's got on ahead of him. Sanchez has got on ahead of him. Winks has got on ahead of him. And we've all known, like Brentford game, Brighton game, where we needed to score and he's not taken that option. So I personally don't think he'll get a cameo.
To be fair, he did come on against Brighton. Remember, he missed that chance.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, but he didn't get much game time, did he?
I mean, the fact that he scuffed that was because the fact he'd only been on the field 30 seconds, you know? So
you know what, at the most, maybe 5-10 minutes if we're going to be lucky. But if Moura comes back fit, then it's going to be one of them, isn't it?
I can see him being given a farewell performance against Norwich on the last day of the season.
You know what?
I mean, if the top 4's done, I reckon he'll get a game then.
Listen, I really believe...
And that'll break my heart.
In my opinion, and I'm only saying this because I don't even know, but I think he's going to have a bit to play in this game against Liverpool. Just because he's a player that I think he's a big time player. He can play against the big teams. We've seen that. I think he's got the all that ability, all the characteristics that's going to really cause Liverpool a problem. If we're chasing a game, or even if we want to play a counter-attacking game, you know, you could have all four of those players, and I've mentioned them, Son, Kane, Kulusevski, and Bergwijn, devise a system. As you said, Sid, you could even drop Kane into that midfield area if you really wanted to, but that does mean a little bit of a change of shape. Would he go to a 3-5-2? Would he potentially only look at, you know, bringing Son, because I think Son and Bergwijn up top, you got Harry Kane just behind them. You might have to drop Kulusevski because of that reason, because you're wing backs. Or if you were brave, drop that bloody Emerson Emerson Peasant, because he's not royal, and put Kulusevski there. That's what I'm looking at. Something like that, or even Bergwijn to kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Sam, if Conte was watching yesterday's game and watched that first half by Villarreal, if we go at Liverpool from the start, and if he plays like you said, if he plays Bergwijn, Kane, Son, and Kulu, we can have a go at Liverpool, and we could probably cause them problems.
Ain't happening.
Yeah, but we know it's not going to happen.
It's not. If it doesn't happen against teams like Brighton at home, it doesn't happen against Leicester at home with their second string. It doesn't happen. We ain't going to see it away at Anfield. No chance.
I mean, currently probably the best team in the Premier League, Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, and I would, you know, Conte's wedded to the 3-4-3 because of our squad. He's not going to accommodate Steven Bergwijn to make it 3-5-2 or anything like that. I'm sorry.
It's not. No. I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. That's why I say he potentially has a cameo appearance to make, but he can't be given 5 minutes. If that happens, we know that he's fallen out. I think we know that already. But if he comes on, or he doesn't come on before someone like Moura or Winks, then I think it's embarrassing for us. I think because we need to win the game. I'm already predicting that we're going to be chasing this game against Liverpool, but I think we're going to have to defend well and counter-attack. You need good pace. You need players that can finish if you're going to counter-attack. Lucas Moura has got good pace, but he can't finish. He can't finish his breakfast, let alone finish anything else. So I'm not sure how he's going to perform, but I do like Moura. Let's get some final thoughts from you. Question, Sid, that was it? Your question that you was going to ask at the end. Go ahead. Yeah. Let's see if we can answer it now.
Yeah. Would you? So would you keep him, right, to sit on the bench, or would he be happy to sit on the bench, or would he want a move out of the club? Because I know what I know. If I was Bergwijn, I know what I want. I want to leave because I want game time. The World Cup's coming up in December. I'm quite instrumental for that Dutch team, yeah. So I need to keep fit, and if I'm not going to get that game time, then I'm knocking on that door in the summer, and I'm saying I want to go. I'm sorry, I want to go. What are your plans? I want to go. So the question is, do you keep him to sit on the bench, or do you sell him?
I'll let Sean answer first, then, and then I'll come back after that. I like that swerve.
That was a good swerve, yeah. Were you a winger in previous life? Yeah,
I was.
No, it's for me. I don't want to sell him, but if he's going to be sold, I want us to extract the maximum value out of a team on Europe, not in the Premier League. That may mean that we take less money, but we might look at a player, a player plus money. Yeah, I'm sure there are lists. There's a list. A mile long that PRTv has been drawing up for this window. I'm sure Conte's added to that list or struck through some of those names on that list. Yeah, I mean, my fear is that we lose Steven Bergwijn and we get back a certain Tanguy Ndombele.
No.
But he's coming back, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's a madness to me. But if Steve's unhappy, let him go, but let's extract what we can. Let's go player mining for next season, because we're gonna, even in the Europa League, we're gonna need to strengthen this squad.
Yeah.
Before I let Sid answer his own question, I'm going to answer this part. I would keep him, and I would keep him even if the player wanted to leave. We've seen that depending on, this is where good man management comes in, and this is why I class Conte is one of the top 5, possibly even top 3 managers in world football currently. Certainly in the top 5 for me. But I'm not currently convinced at Spurs that his management of certain players is at 11. The reason I say that is because he seems to have this 11. Even when we were, had loads and loads of games and we were playing twice a week, he weren't really changing it. Hence the reason why we had Bentancur maybe falling off a little bit in terms of getting knocks. But we can't change the midfield. I understand that. But the one area where we can make changes of a front three is for Steven Bergwijn to come on alongside a Lucas Moura. If you look at those two, I know Scarlett's young, but we haven't got a backup striker. But the fact is, we've got a player that can play in all three of those positions. I wouldn't put Lucas Moura as a striker, not definite because I don't think he's that great at finishing. But I do like the look of Steven Bergwijn on the left, on the right, or down the middle. So it's almost like, and then we've talked about that potential of playing as a right wing back. We've seen him do that. So he's got a ceiling of ability, plus also a bit of a versatility in terms of where he can play. We get rid of that and just bring in a direct striker for Harry Kane, who's not going to be playing all the time. Doesn't make any sense to me. That wouldn't make any sense. So I would keep him. I would talk to the player and say, listen, you're going to try to get into, you're already in the Dutch squad. I'll try and get you some time. You know what you've got ahead of you. You've got Harry Kane, you've got Son, and you've got Kulusevski. You've got to show me. You've got to show me what you're capable of. I think he's done that to a point, but he maybe then, if we get into Europe, which I think we will for next season, get game time in the Europa or Champions League, whatever competition it is we're in. Let the guy play. Let the guy play. If, however, we see the similar type of attitude like a Tanguy, then we'll have to probably get rid of him in January. But I would at least keep him until then to see. And brief. Sid, what's your answer to your own question?
Answer to my question is Moura's going to be leaving at the end of the season, right? That's probably 90%. I don't think Conte is going to keep him any longer. I think he's, like we said the other day, he's done his bit now and he needs to go. So yeah, they seem as like for like, right? So I'd want to keep him because I want to see the full potential of Steven Bergwijn at Tottenham. I don't want to see the potential elsewhere and then sit back and say, do you know what? If only. So if the ability's in him, if he's that good, then we keep him at Spurs and we let him blemish at Spurs, let him become the player that he is, give him the opportunity, right? However, if he does go knocking on that door to Conte and say, listen, mate, you're not going to play me, are you? Conte's going to say, no, I don't see you as a striker. I've got Kulu there. I've got him there. I can't really see you. You're going to be a big player. But, boss, the World Cup's coming up. I need to play. Okay, then. What do you want to do? I want to leave. Then, if Inter Milan are looking at him, then why don't you say to Inter Milan, Martinez, Bastoni, The Verge, there's 3 players there that we want. Then you try and use him as bait for them 3 players, all 3, 2 of them, and use bait to get them. Because that way then you're sort of sorting out your striker problem and then Bastoni problem and also your centre-back problem. So hopefully we can kill 3 birds with 1 stone by using Bergwijn.
And if you then mention it like that, I'd rather sell him to make up for 3, but then we've done that
2.
in the past as well when we've sold Bale and got 7 and probably ended up with 1 player that was good.
These 3 players we've been after for a while, and everyone knows how decent players they are, and it's what we're lacking, and they've been sounded out. I mean, Bastoni's already said that Conte was the one who's made him. He doesn't give. He's the only manager that gives a 20-year-old the opportunity to shine. Blah blah blah. So he's basically saying to Conte, "Come to me, come and take me." So if the push comes to the shove and he wants to leave, we don't sell him to the Prem. We try and sell him to Inter and say, right, come on then. Who you giving us?
I think you need to be part of this negotiation team at Spurs because I like that. I really did. I didn't even think of it like that. But that's because you're Sid and you're a swindler. You're a swindler, aren't you, Sid?
No, he's coming into his own because it's transfer window time is getting closer.
Yeah, of course, Sid said.
You see? I'm just sitting there. I'm just getting all my things ready,
Yeah.
I thought of a new show, Sid the Swindler. That could be the one. That could be the one. Sid the Swindler. Anyway, that's very good though, because I think you're right. We have to, if we're gonna lose him, We don't.
I was thinking one player. He's going for 3.
You know what?
Well,
why not?
Why
Forget
not,
this
indeed?
buy one. You know what? Buy one get 2 free, mate. I'm. You know what? That's why I'm the swindler, man.
Hey,
The Northern
that's a new
swindler.
name. That's gonna be sticking. I'm gonna make it stick. I'm gonna try to anyway. Sid the Swindler. Wowzers. We might even have to have a show about that. I'm just like any old iron or whatever it is. Yeah, I've got one or something. You want something? Whatever it is, we're gonna have to do something.
That's it.
Anyway, let's go and watch the second half of this game.
Yeah.
Before we go, though, please make sure, as we've said at the beginning, hit the like button, smash that like button. If you're watching on Catch, you can still do that anyway. Share the stream around all your mates, hit the notification bell, and look out for tomorrow preview show of the game. Liverpool versus Spurs. And then obviously the review show on Saturday, which again will be a little bit late because the kickoff's at 7:45. But we'll have plenty to talk about. Regardless of the result, we'll have plenty to talk about. There's things coming up as well. As you said, we've got new shows, Sid the Swindler, Art Sid, and Sid Says. Us as well. We've got a walk down White Hart Memory Lane with the one Sean Hurl down there at some point as well. So we've got plenty. Oh, phone's ringing. We've got plenty for you.
That's Antonio saying, "You've already just scuppered my deal, Sid."
Yeah. That's it. What do you do?
Dear, but no, we've got plenty.
Mamma mia!
plenty to go. So look out for us. Make sure you do join us tomorrow for the preview show. It should be a good one. And yeah, let's see what we do. We're not even two. One game at a time before we can even think about anything else.
That's right.
We have to deal with Liverpool. Sean, Sid, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Brilliant show.
Absolutely.
Today. A little bit shorter, but it's short and sweet as we like it here. Let's get this comment off and get this and ready to get off. So yes, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the second half of the game. Make sure you, again, last little plug, hit that like button. And also look out. I don't know if you can see it that well because it's in white, but this is a grey Paxton. Oh, look at that. The hoodie representing 100%.
Absolutely. And congratulations to the winners of our competition from the Leicester City game. The parcels have been sent out, so very soon we'll be seeing them splattered in Exeter as well.
Careful.
So yes,
Careful.
well done.
Jesus. Don't be splattering people anywhere. Sid, God, bloody hell, that violent. They will be posting.
They'll be posting. That's right.
They will be offering free advertisements.
Absolutely.
Free advertising. That's great for us. But yeah, it was good. We'll be doing some more competitions. It was good getting down to the game. That was really good. Good meeting Sid there. It was wicked, man.
It was.
Family of Sid. They are. I'll give a big shout out to all of them. Fabulous. I think that's it, gentlemen. Let us do the old say bye-bye, come on you Spurs sort of thing, and we shall look forward to Liverpool at the weekend. Join us very soon.